So in this video, we're looking at textual analysis using an example of a key scene from Dracula 1958. When doing your textual analysis, you need to analyse the following: technical codes such as the camera work, the sound and the editing. You need to look at the visual codes such as lighting and mise-en-scène, which can cover colour, locations, props, costumes, hair and makeup, performance, blocking of the actors, what effects have been used, if there have been any graphics been used. Then you also need to analyse representations, analyse the genre and then the narrative. How you format your textual analysis: you could do it as an essay format where you have screenshots and paragraphs. You could do it as the PowerPoint where you have an image on one side and you've got your text on the other side. Or you can do a video analysis using PowerPoint, which is what I'm going to do in this video. So when you do this in a video essay format, I do recommend that you rehearse what you're going to say beforehand. You might want to record multiple takes, choose the best one, and maybe do one slide at a time. So this is basically what I am doing right now. I'm literally recording straight onto my PowerPoint, rehearsing it. I'm doing more than one take, so I'm going to choose the best one, and I am just doing one slide at a time to make it easy for myself. And I can always go back later and change that voiceover if I need to on separate slides. In my textual analysis, I'll be looking at these shots in the final sequence of the film that I have chosen. So for my analysis, my video analysis, I am taking a screenshot, I'm making it full size to fit the entire slide, and I'm adding denotations only. So basically the techniques and what I can see. So let's go through this example. So for sound, all I've put down is score, non-diegetic, and it's loud and it's fast-paced. In terms of set dressing, I've got trapdoor, golden seal, and old books. In terms of the camera, it's a high angle shot, it's also a wide shot. In terms of editing, it's fast paced, it's fast cutting. In terms of lighting, it's low key lighting. In terms of the narrative, we have a hero, we have a villain. And in terms of narrative, this is the climax of the film. So I'm not analysing anything at this point, I am just pinpointing the techniques that have been used. So if I was to analyse it, this is what I would say. So the score is non-diegetic, loud and fast-paced to make it exciting and dramatic. The trapdoor would suggest that Dracula is trying to escape down into the cellar. The high-angle wide shot lets the audience see the entire scene and see the relationship between the two characters. In terms of the editing, it's fast-cutting to make it more dramatic and exciting. Also lighting low key because it's a horror film, so it needs to build up tension, needs to be horrific. So one way of doing that is use low key lighting and just to show the darkness and the danger that the hero is in. In terms of the old dining hall, it suggests wealth, so character is a wealthy character, along with the golden seal suggests how rich he is in this like large castle. The old book shows that he's well read as a character, Dracula, so he is very intelligent. And in terms of narrative, you got the hero, so he represents good, and we have the villain who represents evil, and we'll go into more about the narrative and the characters as we go along. So that is my example, how I would do my analysis. So I've not written any paragraphs down or any sentences down. I've just got my denotations to help me as I go through it. You can do bullet point notes if you want to in the notes section of the PowerPoint to help you as you do this. This is why you want to practice and you want to rehearse so you know what you're saying and it sounds right. You can always go back and do it again later if you need to. So I'm only doing this one slide at a time. So I'm now going to stop the recording, move on to the next slide, and then do that analysis. So now I'm just going to analyse the rest of the scene. So in this shot, there's a camera movement, which is a tilt. This is to show Dracula getting closer to his victim, so it's building up tension. In terms of framing, Dracula is larger on the screen to show how big and powerful he is. In terms of binary oppositions, we've got the vampire versus the man, so we've got evil versus good. In terms of the score, it increases in volume as Dracula is about to bite, again building up that tension. In terms of makeup effect, we have the fangs to show how animalistic he is, Dracula, that he's going to bite his victim. In terms of performance, we've got direct body contact just to show how powerful he is and that he's causing harm to our hero. And in terms of the camera, we have a low angle, medium close-ups. The low angle is to make Dracula seem more powerful and big. In terms of genre, we have our repetition, so biting a victim. So I'm using a bit of Steve Neal there. In terms of the framing on this shot, there's a bit of headspace, so it makes him look smaller in the frame to make him look more vulnerable. In terms of framing as well, we've got these parallel lines that he's kind of trapped between, so it makes him look trapped. In terms of blocking of the actor, he's walking backwards to show that he is retreating, that he is in danger. The performance is classical, so it looks realistic. So we do feel his pain, we do feel that he is worried at this point. Again, low key, surrounded by darkness, so Dracula is overwhelming him at this point. And the camera is panning, so we're following his movement. So we're seeing him retreat backwards to show that he is in danger. And in terms of gestures, he's got his hand to his throat to show that he has been attacked, that he's in a bit of pain, and that he's now vulnerable and a lot weaker. So for editing, this is a reverse shot of the previous one, also uses a 180-degree rule. So this helps the audience establish the relationship between the two characters, the fact they are against each other, they're facing off against each other. In terms of the framing, Dracula fills more of the frame to show how powerful he is. In terms of performance, it's a formalist performance that's over the top. So it's exaggerated, it's not realistic because he is a vampire, he's a creature, so it should be more over the top. In terms of blocking, he is walking towards the main character. He's going to attack him at some point. So we have a small panning shot here, so just to show his movement that he's getting closer to his victim. In terms of set dressing, there's weapons and spiked objects, just to reinforce that this vampire is dangerous. In terms of lighting, he's wearing a black costume because he's the antagonist. He's dangerous, he's dark, he's evil. Very similar technique that was used for Darth Vader in the Star Wars films. In terms of genre, well, the cape, that is a representation of the vampire genre, same as the low-key lighting as well. You'd often expect to see that in vampire films. So in terms of editing, we have a point of view technique. So we've got the character looking and we see what he's looking at. So he's in low-key lighting again to show the darkness surrounding him. And when he looks at the curtain, there's some motivated lighting. We can see the sunlight coming through the curtains. This is going to be his salvation. This is going to be what is going to save this character. So here we have a wide shot, so the audience can see what is going on. So there's a lot of detail in this shot, so it has to be done in the wide shot. You need to see the character running and jumping, you need to see the curtains, and you need to see where Dracula is in relation to the sunlight. So this is why you need a wide shot for this. So here we have some stunt work. So the character jumping on the curtains, pulling them down. That is quite dangerous to do. The actor could have easily have hurt himself, and it could have been a stuntman doing this, but I think it's the actor actually doing it. So in terms of performance, he runs and then jumps. This shows how brave he is, how much of an action hero he is in this film. Motivated lighting, we see the beam of light. So that's quite important. So the sunlight kills vampires. Now this, I would argue, is a visual effect. I think this has been added on afterwards, but I could be wrong. So it looks like a visual effect. So the beam of light is aiming towards Dracula. That is what is going to defeat him. In terms of performance of Dracula, he falls, which just shows there's something going on. So he's now lower in the frame, which shows now he's weaker. So before he was bigger in the frame, and now he's smaller in the frame. In terms of diegetic sound, we have a heightened scream to show that Dracula is now in pain because of this sunlight. So in terms of framing, Van Helsing fills the frame, so he's a lot bigger now because he now has the upper hand on Dracula. He's now a more powerful character. Again, a classical performance, so it's realistic. In terms of blocking, he's now moving forward. He's no longer moving backwards, he's now moving forward. Now he's got the upper hand on Dracula, he's stronger. The camera work is a low angle to show that now he is a stronger character. In terms of camera movement, we have a small pan to show him getting nearer to Dracula, that he's getting stronger and nearer and braver to him. In terms of props, you've got two candlesticks. Now they're put together like a cross, which is vampire repetition. So the cross is used to defeat vampires. It represents good. We have an over-the-shoulder shot, so we can see the relationship of the two characters. So we can see that Van Helsing obviously now has the upper hand over Dracula. This is a high-angle shot just to show how weak Dracula is now. In terms of camera movement, there is a small tilt with the camera moving down slightly, just to show that the power of the cross is now going down on Dracula, that he's been defeated. The cross is centre of the frame to show how important prop that is in terms of defeating Dracula. Again, his performance is formless for Dracula. It's just over the top, it's exaggerated because he is a creature. He's not like a normal human being, so it needs to be over the top. So think about Joker in the Batman films, very over the top performance. In terms of his performance and hand gestures, he's got his hand in front of the cross to show that it's hurting him, that he's afraid of it, he's trying to get it away from him. And in terms of blocking Dracula's position between the cross and the sunlight, so he's trapped now. He's got the sunlight behind him and he's got the cross in front of him, so he is trapped, he is in danger. And all of this is repetition of the vampire subgenre of horror. So here we have a visual effect that would have been done afterwards in editing. So we have a burnt cross on this hand which fades. This tells us that she is getting over this vampire attack. She's no longer becoming a vampire anymore. We also got a close-up of the hand because we have to clearly see this effect, so the audience can see what's going on. And also the wedding ring as part of her costume just shows that she is married and that she has these traditional values. Again, this is all repetition of the vampire subgenre. Now this very last shot, it looks quite simple, but there is a lot going on here. So in terms of the sound, the score is now a lot slower, it's quiet. It's because things are returning to normal. So Dracula's been defeated and normality is coming back in. So in terms of narrative, you could argue that is the new equilibrium if you're doing Todorov. In terms of blocking, the characters are very close together, they overlap. This shows us how close they are because they are a married couple. The dirty face on the female character suggests that she's been through some kind of ordeal. The fact she's wearing her husband's coat shows how loving he is, that he's there to protect her. They are centering the frame of equal size to show that they are a couple in a strong relationship, an equal relationship. In terms of narrative, she is your stereotypical damsel in distress. She's wearing a white dress to show that she is pure and innocent. And this is parallel cutting for editing, so this is going on at the same time that Dracula is now dying in the castle. In terms of camera work, this is a two-shot, so you can see their close relationship. In terms of the male character and his hair, he's well groomed. He's got a tailored suit for his costume. It shows us that he is an upper-class character, so he is Sir Arthur Holmwood. In terms of performance, we've got that direct body contact, the holding hands, just to show how close they are. In terms of the narrative, he is the helper, he helps Van Helsing. In terms of the narrative, this is a closed ending. So this is the end of the film, the vampire's been defeated, and so there is no like cliffhanger at the end. So this is a very closed ending. So this is the denouement of the narrative. After the climax, this is the very last part of the film. So there you go. That's just one example of how to do a textual analysis in a video essay format using PowerPoint. Now you can also do this as a normal essay if you want to, with screenshots and paragraphs, or you can do it as your PowerPoint, so you've got your image on one side and you've got your text on the other. So the choice really is down to you.